Ayan, so good morning to everyone. This is a very great opportunity for me. Actually, I didn't expect that this will happen as early as, alam niyo yun, parang kakagraduate ko lang last January. And thank you very much, PUNP, for this opportunity to share my knowledge on agriculture. Actually, this topic is sobrang sakto siya eh. Kasi ito yung topic that is really close to my heart. Itong topic na to, ito ay ang topic ng aking thesis at ito rin ang karaniwan kong sinusulat sa aking trabaho ngayon bilang isang writer for Your Indoor Herbs Gardening. Ayan. So, without further ado, ayan. In-introduce yung sarili. So, this will not be your, alam niyo yung parang formal na lectures. Wow, kasi ano tayo tawag dito? Gen Zs. Wow, joke lang. So yan. I would also like to encourage everyone. Actually, na-surprise ako sa dami ng participants dito sa program ng SBE. So, good job for that. I would also like to encourage everyone na makipag-interact kasi later I will be having questions, perhaps asking about yung kung bang familiar kayo dito sa mga bagay na sinasabi ko. Ganun. So, meron tayong chat box dyan. I encourage everyone na magsagot-sagot dyan. So, yun. So, the topic that was given to me is Best Investment, Agriculture for a Sustainable Future. And specifically, I want to introduce to you the principle of controlled environment agriculture and climate change mitigation. I actually started learning about this when I was in second year kasi ito ang sinuggest din na topic ng aking thesis advisor na ang controlled environment agriculture pala ay isang global movement na nangyayari na ngayon in response sa climate change. And I know na perhaps tayong lahat na nandito sa Zoom na to, sa live stream na to ay merong idea kung ano nga ba yung climate change. At alam ko na nararamdaman nyo na rin yung epekto ng climate change. Diba? Imagine, this month, dapat ay summer, diba? Pero umulan kahapon. Diba? Tapos, inaano tayo ng mga bagyo ngayong March, wherein, dati naman, hindi naman natin na-experience yung mga ganito masyado kapag March. And I also have a teacher dati nung senior high school na nasa US na ang sabi niya, dapat daw doon ay spring pero nagkaka-snowstorm ngayon. So this is a very alarming issue. Sabi nga nila, ano na daw to eh, it is not about parang climate change na awareness na lang. It is about experiencing yung climate change na. And today, I think that I can give you some practical ways kung paano nga ba kayo makakatulong sa pag-reverse, hindi na pag-reverse, sa pagtulong, sa pag-aid ng healing para sa ating Earth. Diba? So, kasi gusto nyo ba yun? Parang end of the world na, joke lang. So, yun. So, to start, I want to ask your familiarity. Can you please chat sa chat box natin kung ano yung mga words na maa-associate nyo sa pictures na ito? I'll be waiting for your answers. Wow. Ayan. So, nakikita ko yung mga sagot nyo dito. Ayan, meron nag-direct message. Sabi niya, scientist. What else? What else? I want to encourage everyone. Ayan, protest. Okay. Ano yung mga issue kaya na nangyayari? Ano yung issue na nilalabanan nila? Protest, very good. I'm very overwhelmed by your fossil fuels, very good. What else? Perhaps two more different answers. Fossil fuels, what else? Ayan, climate change. Yan, very good. Ayan. So, you are all right. So, this protest ay nangyari sa mga NASA scientists. Then, they are fighting. They are protesting na our world is not getting any better. Diba? Very good. It is an issue about our environment. At ito ang ating pag-uusapan today. So, to start, meron ako ditong mga terms and perhaps you will be surprised sa mga ilang terms dito na, nakaka-apekto pala yan sa climate change. Ganun. So first, ayun nga, yung climate change. Yung climate change, as what I've mentioned a while ago, ito na yung parang na-experience natin ngayon. And this is brought about by the burning of fossil fuels, as you have also mentioned dito sa ating chat box. Tapos, itong burning of fossil fuels, ito ay nag-i-emit ng maraming carbon dioxide, di ba? At kapag nag-burn ka ng fossil fuels, mag-i-emit siya ng carbon dioxide. Tapos, itong carbon dioxide nito, this is harmful to our environment, right? Kaya nga nagdi-deplete ang ating ozone layer because of those greenhouse gases, di ba? Pero, as human beings, kailangan natin ng fossil fuels. Bakit? Kasi ang fossil fuels, doon nanggagaling ang energy. And kapag sinabi nating energy, it does not only encompass yung kuryente natin, but even yung energy sa transportation, lahat ng mga yan. Electricity, industry, yung ginagamit natin sa mga commercial establishments, lahat ng mga yan ay sakop niya ang energy. Actually, our world really needs energy. And maybe you will be surprised kung bakit nandiyan yung agriculture. Actually, according to the US EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, ang agriculture in the United States alone contributes 11% ng carbon dioxide emission. And saan yun lang gagaling? Actually, ang agriculture natin, syempre, gumagamit din tayo ng fuel for transportation ng mga goods, di ba? For example, sa mga palengke natin, yung mga yan, hindi naman yan galing na agad dito lang sa may tawag dito Tayug, di ba? It came from Baguio, perhaps, from Baguio, Benguet, parehas lang pala yun, di ba? So, doon siya lang galing sa mga highlands or even in other areas. At yung mga yon, gumagamit sila ng fuel para i-transport yung mga yon. Another example is animal science naman. Even yung mga waste ng ating mga livestock, they are contributing sa carbon emissions. Kasi nagre-release sila ng methane, di ba? Wow. Naging science, Pero yon, nagre-release sila ng methane, so meron pa rin carbon emissions na nakakontribute ang agriculture. So those are just two of the examples ng contribution ng agriculture, ng agriculture sa climate change, parang gano'n. Pero, meron tayong magagawa. Wow. That is why, so my outline for today, so here are the seeds that you will be learning for today. If you will notice, excuse me, if you will notice, these are the 5 W's, 5 W's and 1 H. Ayan, so, okay. So merong what, why, who, where, how, and when. Excuse me. So first, we will answer the question, what is CEA or Controlled Environment Agriculture? Next is why grow your own food? Who can participate in CEA? Where to start? And how to grow your own food? And when to start? So let us start ngayon na. Yeah, so let us start by answering what is CEA or Controlled Environment Agriculture. So ang Controlled Environment Agriculture ay isang movement na nag-i-integrate ng science at saka engineering-based approaches. So ayan, gumagamit tayo ng, for example, kung kita nyo yung picture dito sa gilid, ito, ayan, yung may mga lettuce dyan. So yung paggawa ng system na yan ay ginamitan ng engineering approaches. Yung science naman is more on the agricultural aspect. Paano nga ba tutubo ang halaman na ito na best sa isang sistemang katulad nito? So, from the term itself, controlled environment agriculture is growing crops under managed environments. So, ito ay taliwas doon sa parang nakasanayan natin na pagtatanim sa farm, 'di ba? Yung kailangan meron kang tawag dito, sobrang lawak na farm, ganon, di ba? Wait lang. Kailangan meron kang sobrang lawak na farm, tapos kailangan mo ng patubig, kailangan mo ng fuel for the patubig, di ba? Parang ito ay taliwas doon kasi ito is growing crops under managed environments, which means pwede mo itong gawin sa rooftop nyo, sa loob ng bahay nyo, sa kitchen nyo mismo, sa loob ng bahay nyo. Pwede nyo gawin ito. Kaya mamaya tuturuan ko kayo kung what are the ways how. And this movement or this principle ng controlled environment agriculture is it also heightens productivity and optimizes use of resources. Ano ibig sabihin natin doon? Kapag sinabing heightens productivity, alam nyo ba na itong nandito, yung picture sa gilid, ano tawag dito, itong mga lettuce na to, yan, ang tawag dyan ay hydroponics, which I will discuss later. Ang hydroponics is mas mabilis yung growth ng mga lettuce, specifically ang lettuce, mas mabilis ang growth niya kapag pinatubo mo siya sa tubig using hydroponics. 'Di ba? So, from ang natural kasi na growth ng lettuce is perhaps 65 to 90 days kapag sa lupa mo sila pinatubo. Pero using hydroponics, you can already harvest within 30 days. So imagine if you can harvest, if a certain farmer can harvest every month ng lettuce, hindi ba mas makakatulong din yun sa kanilang income, sa kanilang farm? Ayun. And optimizes the use of resources. Okay, so dun ulit tayo sa hydroponics. Yung hydroponics kasi sa tubig siya. So, bale, magtatanim ka ng halaman sa tubig. Sa tubig na yon, ikaw mismo yung maglalagay kung gaano karaming nutrients ang kailangan ng halaman mo. And later, I will discuss more of that. And I will also provide resources siguro na pwede nyong basahin kung paano yung mga yon. Pero doon sa system na yon, kontrolada mo kung gaano karaming nutrients ang ilalagay. Unlike kapag sa soil, kailangan mo pang i-check kung ilan na ba yung level ng nitrogen sa lupang ito. Ilan na ba ang level ng phosphorus sa lupang ito. Ilan na ba ang level ng potassium sa lupa na ito. So, kaya karaniwan, ang ginagawa ng mga farmers sa lupa, bago sila magtanim ng sobrang daming halaman, ay pinapacheck muna nila yung lupa nila kung ilan yung level ng ganito, ilan yung level ng mga ganitong nutrients, para malaman nila kung paano sila gagamit ng fertilizer, kung gaano karaming fertilizer ang kailangan nila sa lupa nila. So, basically, ayun yung controlled environment agriculture. Ngayon, ito yung mga major na crops na pwede nating i-grow sa using controlled environment agriculture principles. So first is yung mga vegetables natin. Pero not all vegetables are hindi pa masyadong studied sa controlled environment agriculture. That is why kailangan din talaga natin ng researchers, 'di ba? Kailangan natin ng mga students, ng mga researchers na magi-study about this kasi this is an emerging movement sa ating world. And also yung ornamentals. Actually, last year I tried growing mayana. If familiar kayo sa mayana, ayan yung ating sikat na halaman ngayong pandemic, yung mayana, and it grows well sa tubig kahit walang nutrient. It grows well sa tubig. And marami naman buhay naman siya, 'di ba? So, 'yon. So specifically, ito yung mga gino-grow na halaman in hydroponics or even in microgreens. Ayan. Siguro later I will expand more kung ano nga ba yung microgreens, no? Sa hydroponics, ayan, lettuce, pwede lettuce, spinach, watercress, kale. Yung watercress at kale siguro hindi masyadong familiar sa atin, pero ginagamit yan karaniwan sa mga salads. Tas yung herbs natin, basil, thyme, yung mga yan, chives, rosemary, yung mga yan, pwede rin yan na i-grow. Then fruiting veggies, which are pepper, Strawberry, you can grow strawberry in hydroponics at mas mabilis din siya. Meron akong friend na nakaka-harvest talaga siya ng strawberry at ang dami niyang strawberry ngayon. Ayan. Then cucumber, pwede rin yan sa hydroponics, and tomatoes, pwede rin sa hydroponics. Ayan. So before we go dito sa next part, again, let's have a review. Ang controlled environment agriculture ay isang movement. It is a global movement na nag-i-integrate ng science tsaka engineering processes. Tapos, ang controlled environment agriculture ay, from the term itself, minamanage mo mismo yung resources or yung environment kung saan mag-grow ang inyong mga halaman. Kaya nga controlled environment kasi minamanage mo siya. And lastly, ang controlled environment ay mas nagpapataas ng productivity o ng harvest ng isang farm or ng isang household, ganyan. And ino-optimize niya ang paggamit ng resources kasi kaya mo nga siyang kontrolin. So, ikaw yung may control kung gaano karaming nutrients yung ilalagay mo sa tubig mo and everything. So now, let's go and move forward. Why grow your own food? So we have already answered the what. Ngayon, let's go to the why. Why grow your own food? First, it's because it reduces your carbon footprint. I remembered. Actually, this is a term na hindi ko na discuss kanina kasi 'di ba may terms akong finlash kanina. Hindi ko na discuss yung carbon footprint. Pero ito yan. Sige, ngayon ko siya i-discuss. Ang carbon footprint, actually we had a seminar dati. Meron akong inattenda na seminar dati when I was in grade 7 sa Baguio. 7 or 8. So, may mga grade 7 at grade 8 dito. So, ito. Ang carbon footprint, ito yung emission na nagagastos sa bawat aksyon na ginagawa natin. Carbon emission na nagagastos or na-spend sa bawat aksyon na ginagawa natin. First example, kanina sinabi ko na, anong tawag dito, yung sa agriculture, na nagko-consume din tayo ng carbon sa agriculture, di ba? At ang isang example doon is yung transportation ng goods. For example, from Baguio, ibababa yung mga gulay papunta sa Tayug Public Market. At during that process, nagkakaroon ng carbon footprint yung mga pagkain na yon. Kasi, actually, carbon footprint is not a literal na hindi siya literal na bagay na parang nagkakaroon to ng parang ganun. It is a principle, kumbaga, na yung mga pagkain na yon ay nagkakaroon sila ng carbon footprint kasi merong nai-emit na carbon along the process. Kasi gumagamit ng fuel yung truck na magdi-deliver ng gulay mula sa Baguio papunta sa Tayug. And also, nag-i-emit din yun ng carbon kung kunwari sobrang usok noong yung truck na yon, meron din siyang carbon emission. And also, kapag galing sa palengke, kunwari si Kyle, wow, nag-example, bumili siya ng gulay sa palengke. Tapos, from their house, nag-tricycle siya papunta sa palengke. So, gumamit ulit siya ng fuel. Diba? Tapos, umuwi siya, gumamit ulit siya ng fuel. Tapos, for example, si Aliana. Aliana ba? Tama ba? Si Aliana. Tama ba? Ano tawag dito? Naglakad lang siya papuntang bayan. Ganon. So, sino ang mas mataas ang carbon footprint sa kanila? Siyempre, si Kyle. Kasi nag-tricycle siya, which means, merong na-emit na carbon dun sa ginawa niyang action na yon. Whereas si Aliana, correct me if I'm wrong, nilakad lang niya, wala siyang in-emit na carbon from that activity. O kaya, kunwari, binike niya. Ayun. So that's carbon footprint. Ano pa ba? Yun. I think that's the best example that I can discuss considering itong topic natin today. And next, why grow your own food? Food security. During the pandemic, one of the concerns that we experienced, actually pagka lockdown that time, nag-stop muna kami sa university. Tapos, meron kasi akong subject na kinukuha that time, which is, ano ba yung title nun? Basta, agriculture, ecological agriculture. Tapos, ang parang pinaka-concern namin that time ay food security. Isang buong semester namin, or kalahating semester namin, binigyan ng solusyon ang food security. Food security, it encompasses food access, food availability, yung mga yan. So, kapag meron kang food mismo na accessible sa bahay nyo, sure na meron kang source agad. For example, anak, wala tayong kailangan ko ng kamatis sa pakbet. Meron ba kamatis sa pakbet? Ayun. So, ikaw, kukuha ka lang sa backyard nyo or kukuha ka lang sa may kitchen nyo, di ba? So, that is food security. Na meron ka or meron kayo as a household na pagkukuwanan ng food agad-agad. And ayun. So next, it is a fun learning experience. Believe me, wow, as someone who have tried hydroponics at saka yung microgreens, itong mga controlled environment agriculture practices natin, sobrang fun learning experience niya. As someone din na sobrang interested sa research, syempre nagtatry din ako ng mga certain tweaks. Yan. So actually, ang microgreens ay ang topic ng bunso naming kapatid. Wow. Yung kasi second kong adding from PUNP rin. She graduated sa PUNP last year. Ayan, so yun namang bunso namin kapatid is nasa Tayug National, and yung microgreens, ayun yung isa sa mga sinuggest kong topics ng thesis niya for grade 10. Kaya yun, we are going to that direction ng controlled environment agriculture talaga. So yun. And I hope na after this seminar, after this talk, you will also be encouraged to engage sa controlled environment agriculture. So ngayon, perhaps you have the question where to start. Where to start? Of course, you can start at your own homes. Itong picture na nandito, ayan, so ayan ang isa sa mga pinakauna kong na-grow na sunflower microgreens. Sunflower yan. That's sunflower. So mamaya, mas maiintindihan nyo kung bakit, paano yan naging sunflower? Ganyan lang ba kalaki ang sunflower? Ganyan lang ba sila And yes, masarap yan. Meron siyang parang nutty na flavor na maganda kapag kunwari nag-omelette kayo. Ayan. And also, aside from your home, siguro you can also start with your community. One of the things that I'm really proud of is meron akong friend sa Taguig na she also won sa Department of Agriculture. So, pinondohan din yung proposal nila ng Department of Agriculture. So, it is called City Farm. Tapos ngayon, actually that farm started lang as 2 by 3 meters, I think, na greenhouse sa taas ng bahay nila, sa taas ng apartment nila. Pero ngayon, isa na siyang farm na nasa taas na ng barangay hall nila. 'Di ba? So, nandun na siya. And aside from that, meron na rin silang mga volunteers from the youth na tumutulong sa pag-maintain noong kanilang farm. So, this city farm started as an idea. It started as, what if ganito lang kaya? What if mag-start tayo sa ganitong level? And now, I'm really glad kung nasa na sila ngayon, na meron na silang volunteers na nagme-maintain ng farm nila. And yung ginagawa nila doon is part of controlled environment agriculture. They are engaging in hydroponics. Meron silang basil, meron silang lettuce, ano pa ba? Iba't ibang klaseng lettuce, may kulay purple, mga ganon. And that's in Taguig. Diba? So, imagine you can grow plants pala in urban areas. You can grow farms pala sa rooftop. You can grow farms sa loob ng bahay, sa mga apartment nyo or sa kung nasan man kayo ngayon. you can grow plants. So this is the direction that science and agricultural research is going into. Ayan. So where to start? And who can participate? Everyone. Everyone can participate. I know siguro meron kayong mga parents na ngayon ay mga plantito at plantita na considering the pandemic. Meron akong nakita kanina, nakilala ko from here. Tapos ayun, alam kong plantito tsaka plantita yung kanyang parents. Ayan. So everyone can participate. So before we move on, let's again have a review, konting review lang. Again, what is controlled environment agriculture? Ang controlled environment agriculture ay isang global movement na nag-integrate ng science at saka engineering approaches. Tapos ito ay growing plants in a controlled or managed environment. Pwede sa apartments, pwede sa mga rooftop, pwede sa loob ng bahay. And it heightens productivity. Mas itinataas nito yung productivity katulad ng lettuce nga. Sabi ko kanina, ang lettuce from 60 to 75 or 90 days, nagiging 30 days na lang sa hydroponics, which can also be a source of income para sa mga business-minded sa inyo. I am seeing some ABM students here. Ayan, pwede kayong magsanib puwersa ng STEM kung gusto nyo ng parang ganong business o kaya activity dyan sa PUNP. Kung meron kayong club, pwede magsanib puwersa ang ABM tapos STEM, na ang STEM sila yung nasa growing part ng mga halaman, tapos ABM naman yung para magma-market, pwede yun. Ayan, so it also, controlled environment agriculture also optimizes yung resources mo kasi kontrolado mo. So kung gaano lang karami yung nutrients na kailangan ng halaman mo, ayun lang yung ipo-provide mo. Next, why grow your own food? First, it reduces your carbon footprint. Next, it is a step closer to food security, and it is a fun learning experience. Next, where to start? So meron ng what, meron ng why. Ngayon, where to start? You can start at your own home or in the community. And lastly, who can participate? Everyone can participate. So ngayon, perhaps you are asking at this point na, paano? So let's go to the why, to the how pala. Let's go to the how. So yan. How to grow your own food. So today, I will introduce two scientific and agricultural concepts which are microgreens and hydroponics. Kapag sinabi nating hydroponics, this is growing food on water. If you will see that picture, that is a papaya tree that I grew 2 years back. Tapos ngayon, malaki na siya. Pero, ayan, nilipat ko na siya. So, you can grow or start mga halaman sa hydroponics. And itong microgreens naman is growing plants until the seedling stage. So, ang seedling stage natin, kapag ganyan lang siya, yung picture dyan. Actually, that is a picture from my undergraduate thesis. Ayan, ganyan lang kalaki yung microgreens. So you can grow microgreens 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, yung mga yan. Or merong mga iba na umaabot pa ng 21 days. Ito ay nakadepende sa kung anong halaman yung plano nyong i-grow. So before we move forward, may I ask si Kyle to flash the video na inano ko sa kanila yan. So sa video na ito, this is a practical step. This is a practical way at introduction na rin kung ano nga ba ang hydroponics. Yeah. This is actually a video from my from my former job in Mini Farm Gardening Incorporated. Ayan. Sige na, go na po.
Hello everyone. Welcome to Urban Food Forest. Although I'm sure you're already familiar with hydroponics, this video will be really helpful if you're trying to find out which system is ideal for you. I'm about to show you an extremely effective system that works without the use of a pump, which means no power is required, making it guaranteed economical. there's even more. Make sure to watch the entire video because I'll be showing you how to set up your passive deep water culture so you can make one for yourself. Deep water culture, commonly known as DWC, is one of the famous type of hydroponic systems. In DWC, the roots of the plants are instead contained in a net pot, or grow cup, suspended from a cover, with the roots dangling in a liquid nutrient solution. A DWC may be set up as an active or a passive system. Active DWC system involves growing plants wherein nutrient solution is delivered to the roots via a submersible pump. On the other hand, a passive DWC system functions more like an automatic watering system. Your plant's nutrient and water requirements are met through the growing media on which they are planted. Active systems have a higher growth rate, whereas passive systems are typically easier to set up and manage. Head on to the description section below to know more about the active DWC system. To set up your own passive DWC system, you will be needing the following: 5-gallon bucket with a cover, net pots or grow cups, growing medium, seeds or seedlings, and hydroponic nutrients. The procedure is very simple, but before we head on to that, be sure to visit our website in the video description below to get access to our friendly community of growers, sharing their tips and tricks, as well as participate in our fun weekly challenges. You're watching Urban Food Forest. On with the show. First, start the seeds in the growing medium of your choice, or you may use seedlings like this tomato plant. Also, I'm using coco coir as a growing medium. Then, place growing medium into the net pots, and then add in the seedlings. The growing medium will help stabilize the seedling and would also serve as a coat. In doing so, the roots should be visible on the bottom end and the leaves at the top portion. For the net pots, I bought this online, but this may be easily created by getting a styro cup and cutting holes at the bottom where the roots will be suspended. Next, get your bucket. Any bucket with a cover will do. You may use a rectangular one where you can house multiple net pots. But for this video, I am doing a single net pot DWC as I am intending to grow tomatoes eventually. Afterward, cut a hole in the cover. The hole should be large enough to hold your net cup or grow cup. Fill the bucket with your nutrient solution. Fill up to the level that all the roots would be suspended in the solution. For the right nutrient solution mix, follow the mixing procedure stated on the nutrient package. Sunlight and nutrients favor the growth of algae, so make sure any form of light will be blocked off from touching the nutrient-rich water. Lastly, place the bucket cover and then your net cup containing the growing medium with the seedling. Over time, the nutrient solution will decrease as the plant absorbs them, and some are lost due to evaporation. Refill with water only as the nutrients don't evaporate. However, the nutrient solution would need to be replaced every 2 weeks for optimal plant growth. And there you have it. You've created your own passive deep water culture. Be inventive. You may utilize old buckets or cups instead of purchasing stuff. Do you want us to go over how to put up other hydroponic systems? Please let us know in the comments section below. Thank you for joining us.
Yan. Wait lang. Ayan. So, mag-share screen ulit ako. Ayan, wait lang. Ay. Lamang. Screen. Okay. So, ito, while waiting for my screen, sige nga, what can you remember from that video? You can chat dito sa ating chat box. What can you remember? Ano yung siguro pinaka-takeaway nyo? Or Ano yung mga na-observe nyo na bago? Ganyan. I will wait for answers. Siguro 5 answers. What are the things that you observe? Ano yung, pwede pala yun. Yung mga ganon. Kahit mga terms lang. Okay. Ito pala. So, actually yon pwede nga yon. Ito, merong hydroponics. Yeah, that is a new term perhaps for everyone. Hydroponics. Very good. DWC. Later, I will discuss more on that. Very good. What else? What are terms na bago sa inyo o kaya mga bagay na nakita nyo dyan sa video na yon? Yan, bucket. Yes, bucket. Or timba. Pwede pa lang mag-grow ng pagkain sa timba. Very good. Okay, so ayan. So I will discuss more on hydroponics. Actually, ito yung pinanood ko na kanina, 'di ba? So yung hydroponics, it is, sabi ko kanina, growing food sa tubig. So if you can see, ito yung product kanina. Itong naka-flash dito sa screen. Ito yung product na ginawa kanina. So ang mga kailangan sa hydroponics is ay water with nutrients. Yung nutrient na part, I will expand more on that later. Bucket with cover. Actually, may mga nabibili lang ng mga ganyan. O kaya, alam niyo yung, anong tawag dito? Yung timba ng Ribisco. Wow, anong tawag? Basta yung mga, yung maraming tinapay, ganon. Nag-endorse pa. Hindi, yon. Pwede rin yon. Pwede yung butasan lang, tapos yon, ilagay nyo dun yung styro cup, ganon. So, yan, styrofoam cup or plastic cup, seedling, growing medium. Yung growing medium, perhaps, bago siyang term for you, pero pwede kayong gumamit ng bato lang. As in yung bato na kita nyo sa may labas ng bahay nyo, ganon. Yung mga medj malalaki, mga ganyan. Pwede yon. And ito, I have an example here. Ito yung net cup. Ang tawag dito ay net cup. Ito yung mag-hold nung halaman nyo dito. Ayan. So, ang kailangan lang ditong gawin, katulad ng mga pots, di ba? Ang mga garden pots ay merong mga butas sa ilalim. So, ang net pot, kailangan nyo rin siyang lagyan ng butas. So, you can use, ito pala, a cutter for that. So, pwede nyo lang siyang butasan na ganon. Tapos, yun. Pwede nyo na siyang gamitin. Cutter or gunting, pwede rin. Ayan. So, further, ito. Ganito ang paglalagay ng halaman doon. So, ayun yung net cup. Ayan yung net cup. Tapos, ilalagay mo lang yung seedling mo sa loob. Tapos, lalagyan mo na. Yung nandyan, ang tawag dyan ay clay pebbles. Pwede kayo makabili ng ganyan online. Pero, syempre kapag kunwari beginner ka, meron ka pang doubts na, gagastos ba ako para dito? Kaya pwede kayong gumamit ng mga bato-bato muna na medyo malalaki. Ayun. Ayan. So, ganyan siya maglagay. Actually, this is a clip na kaka-film ko lang yata this week. This week din lang, nung Lunes. Ayan. So, sobrang sakto rin. Ayan. So, ngayon, ito yung sinasabi nila kanina, yung mga bagong terms daw. DWC or Deep Water Culture. Wait lang, I will chat here. Para if you want to research more on that, pwede kayong makapag-research. Ayan, Deep Water Culture. So, ano ang difference nila? So, meron tayong passive at saka active. So, ang passive, ayun na siya. Finished product na siya. Kung ano yung kaninang nakita nyo sa video, yun na yun. That's a passive deep water culture hydroponics. Kapag naman active, kailangan nyo ng air pump. Para saan ang air pump? Ang air pump ay, anong tawag dito? Ang air pump ay magpo-provide ng oxygen para sa halaman nyo. Familiar kayo sa aquarium, di ba? Sa mga aquarium, gumagamit tayo ng air pump, 'di ba, para magkaroon ng oxygen access yung ating mga fish, 'di ba? So same true here. Kasi ang roots ng halaman ay kailangan din ng oxygen. Kailangan niya ng oxygen para makapaggawa ng kanyang mga biological processes. Specifically yung respiration. Ayan, kailangan nila yung oxygen for that. Ayun. So, according to studies, mas mataas ang harvest sa active deep water culture hydroponics. Pero ang active deep water culture ay ginagamit siya karaniwan kapag commercial based na. Like for example, sa mga lettuce farms, yung mga yan, gumagamit na sila ng active deep water culture kasi kailangan talaga ng air pump doon. Kasi marami na ngayong mga halaman. Pero kapag kunwari nasa bahay lang kayo or kayo right now, kunwari gusto niyo mag-start, pwede kayong sa passive muna kasi para wala masyadong gastos, kumbaga. 'Yon. So ito yung sinasabi ko kanina. Aside from the bucket, meron din kayong pwedeng bilhin kapag kunwari talagang gusto niyo, seryoso kayo na gusto ko ng lettuce para sa samgyup dito sa bahay, mga ganon. Pwede kayong bumili ng ganitong styro box na meron naman sa mga online shops. Meron siya dyan. Mag-search na kayo, hydroponic boxes. I think this one, it is around 200 yung price niya. And kapag naman kunwari nag-grow na kayo, it will be worth it kapag nakaka-harvest na kayo, ganyan. So ito, ang tawag dyan is hydroponic boxes. Ang hydroponic boxes ay pwede siyang maka-house ng maraming halaman. So for example, gusto niyo na maraming lettuce, ayan, pwede dyan. O kaya pwede rin ang kamatis or sili kung gusto niyo, pwede rin kayong mag-grow dyan. Or basil, if you are, kung mahilig kayo sa mga ang tawag doon, mga toppings ng mga herbs, ganyan. Pwede rin kayo mag-grow ng basil sa ganitong klaseng system. So sa ganito, hindi na masyadong kailangan ng air pump kasi passive siya. Yan. And ito yung hydroponic nutrients. Karaniwan dito ay meron ding nabibiling ganito online, perhaps 100 to 200 pesos din lang siya. Ang hydroponic nutrients, it comes karaniwan in twos. May nutrient A, merong B. Ganyan. So, if you will notice dyan, meron nakalagay 2 ml per liter. Imagine 2 ml lang per liter ng tubig ang ilalagay mo. Kaya nga di ba sabi ko kanina, one of the advantages ng controlled environment agriculture kasi is, anong tawag dito, kontrolado mo kung gaano karaming nutrients yung ilalagay mo sa kanila. So dito, 2 ml lang per liter. So kunwari, meron kang timba na 5 liters ang capacity, ayun, 10 ml lang nitong nutrients ang kailangan mo. Kaya yung parang ganyang bote, which is I think 500 ml, is makakalast ng sobrang daming cycles or sobrang daming beses na magtatanim ka ng lettuce, kunwari. Yan. So, kapag naman nandun na siya sa inyo, ano na lang siya, it's a very great investment, lalo na kapag nakaka-harvest na kayo. Ayan. So, before we move on, meron ulit ipa-flash si Kyle na video about microgreens naman. So, I hope medyo naging klaro yung hydroponics for everyone. Later, mag-ano tayo ng review. And now, let's move sa micro.
Welcome to the Crop Care series in the Sprout Up i6111 YouTube channel. In this series, our aim is to help you grow your crops by providing the steps in planting and tips while growing your desired crop. Stay tuned to this series by clicking the notification bell. We will post every Sprout Up Wednesday. In this video, we are going to talk about the best guide on growing mung bean microgreens. Make sure to finish this episode up to the very end because we will reveal awesome tips in the end. Green mung bean microgreens have a nutty taste and can be placed in your salads and soups. They are one of the easiest crops to grow but are also a great source of potassium, sodium and other vitamins and minerals. If you are a starting plant grower, being here will surely be a great help for you. First and foremost, space will not be that much of an issue since you can grow these indoors at your shelves. Microgreens are considered as superfoods that are packed with nutrients. These are seeds that are grown and harvested in its earlier stage. In just 2 to 3 weeks, you can already enjoy these microgreens in your salad plates. To start, gather the following materials. Microgreen tray, cocoa core, green mung bean seeds, grow light strips, kitchen scissors, spray bottle. For a satisfying success, just follow the following steps. To start, soak your seeds in water overnight. After this time, the seeds may appear bigger and lighter in color. Prepare your microgreen tray by placing enough cocoa core where the seeds will be grown. Make sure that the cocoa core are evenly distributed across the tray. Distribute the seeds onto the cocoa core in a well-distributed manner. You can use a spoon or just your bare hands. Remember that the seeds will remain on top and will not be buried under the cocoa core. Mist the seeds with water. Cover the tray with a lid, or another tray, to maintain moisture. While roots are not yet developed, continue to water the seeds using a spray bottle. It is vital for the seeds to have access to water but not too much for it can develop molds. Once you are already seeing roots below the white-colored tray, you can now put water in the green-colored basin below. This will be easier for you since by this time, you do not need to water them daily. The roots will already do its job as it absorbs water below. After 3 days, you can now expose them to grow lights. This will make your sprouts greener. After 4 to 5 days or when some of the shoots are already bending and they are big enough, they will be ready for harvest. Harvesting microgreens are pretty simple. You just need to cut them through the part of the shoot that is not too close with the cocoa core. After that, it is great to rinse them gently with water, then they are ready to serve. Of course, we will not let you go without our awesome tips. The soil must maintain moisture in the germination process. In just 2 to 3 days, you should be seeing signs of germination already. Do not overwater them, because molds may develop and hinder their growth. If you want to store your green mung bean microgreens, it will be better if you will lessen their water supply 8 to 12 hours before harvesting them. Through this, they will become dry, thus they will be better for storage. Most importantly, enjoy your microgreen journey. And there you go, the steps and tips in growing mung bean microgreens. We hope that this guide helped you. What do you think of this crop care guide? What crops would you like us to feature next? If you have any comments or suggestions, just comment below. Do not forget to like this video, hit that notification bell button, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We also have a Facebook community, Sprout Up Journeys, where we can share our gardening journeys, our successes and failures. In this community, we can help each other out and learn together because we are #BetterTogether. That's all for this episode. Have an awesome day and continue to sprout up.
Cocoa Choir. Wow. Yes, Cocoa Choir. Kita na ba? Ayun. Microgreens. Very good. Okay. So, ito, actually, sobrang galing ng mga sumagot kasi ayan yung mga major things na kailangan nyo. Yan, moisture. Ayan yung mga major things na kailangan nyo in growing microgreens. Ayan. So, ano nga ba ang microgreens? Sige, let's start muna. Actually, microgreens is an emerging ano tawag dito? Industry. Emerging industry. Siguro first time nyo siyang marinig. Yan, siguro lang. Pero ang microgreens kasi ay nag-start sa West, sa United States. Actually, existing na siya since 1990s I think meron na, pero hindi pa siya parang deemed necessary at that time kasi hindi pa naman tayo nakaka-experience na sila at that time nakaka-experience siguro ng sobrang lalang epekto ng climate change. Pero ang microgreens dati is ginagamit sa culinary. So yung mga yan, kapag gagawin mo siyang business, sobrang mahal niyan. Kapag you will be supplying sa mga high-end na mga culinary restaurants, ganyan. So, yan, another business idea for the ABM people, 'di ba? So, microgreens are a new type of leafy vegetable. So, ito ay mga little seedling lang of edible herbaceous species. So, ang mga karaniwang ginagawang microgreens, actually, pwede ang lettuce, broccoli, cauliflower, yung petchay, pwede rin yun. Basta mga leafy stuff. Or yung mga beans, katulad ng dito. Yung sa video kanina, munggo, imagine, pwede pala kayo makagawa ng microgreens from munggo. Itong nandito, rice bean microgreens. Ito ay ang aking plant sa aking thesis. So bakit ako gumamit ng rice bean microgreens? Kasi ang rice bean microgreens is an indigenous crop here in the Philippines, and at the same time, it is underutilized and it is underexplored, which means walang masyadong nag-study or nagre-research about this crop. Kaya nga parang months back, merong nilabas ang Department of Agriculture, PICARD, na listahan ng 10 mga halaman dito sa Pilipinas na hindi masyadong ginagamit. Ang ilan doon ay alugbati, ano pa ba? Ito yung mga crops na hindi pa masyadong pinag-aaralan ng mga researchers or hindi pa masyadong alam. If familiar kayo sa kadyos, alam niyo ba yung kadyos? Yung mga yan. Patani, malamang nasa bahay kubo yun. Pero what are the things na we can make out of patani, di ba? So, ayun yung mga bagay na hindi pa natin na-explore. So, kung meron sa inyo na kailangan ng research topic, mag-email lang kayo sa akin. Chat nyo lang ako, ganyan. So, yun. Moving back here. So, ito mga microgreens na to, ito ay, it can be harvested in 7 to 21 days. Pero actually, kahit 5 or 3 days meron na. Yung rice bean microgreens na yan, yung nasa picture dyan ay 5 days. 5 days yan. So, ganyan na siya kalaki. And same with sunflower, masarap siya sa pwede nyo siyang ihalo sa noodles to add more nutrients sa inyong mga pagkain. Tapos meron din akong isang nanay ng isang friend ko na tinuruan ko ng ganito. Tapos ginagawa na niya ngayon sa, ano ba yung binigay ko sa kanya? Broccoli. Binigyan ko siya ng broccoli ng mga seeds. Tapos ayun yung ginagawa niya. Tapos kinakain niya siya na hinahalo niya sa kanin, yung sa sinangag, for additional nutrients. Ayun. So mga ganong luto pwede niyo siyang gawin or pag-eksperimentuhan kung trip niyo ba. But mainly, yung mga microgreens is hinahalo sa salad. Kunwari, meron kang lettuce salad, di ba? Meron mga kamatis doon and everything. Pwede kayo maghalo ng microgreens. Bakit siya sinasabi na mas para sa nutrients? Kasi ang microgreens is considered as a superfood. It is considered as a superfood kasi according to studies, doble ng nutrients ang nakukuha sa microgreens kumpara sa kanyang full-grown na crops. Kapag sinabing full-grown, for example, sa lettuce, yung buong lettuce, di ba? Like yung lettuce na dahon na kinakain nyo sa samgyup, gano'n. Ayun yung full-grown. Pero kapag daw yung lettuce is tinanim mo siya at hinarvest mo siya after 7 to 21 days, mas doble daw yung nutrients na pwede niyang i-provide sa inyong katawan. So actually, this is a direction then that I am seeing myself to be studying for the next years as I pursue further studies, something. Ganyan. So kaya kayo, if you want to pursue something in this field, then ayun, approach me lang. Ayan. So ang mga microgreens in a physiological definition ay kapag tumubo na yung first true leaf niya. So ayan, bawat halaman dyan ay merong dalawang leaves. So yun, that is a sign na pwede nyo lang i-harvest yung microgreens. Katulad din dito sa mga clip arts na inilagay ko dito, ito I think is lettuce microgreens ito. So kita nyo meron siyang dalawang, hindi nyo pala kita yung cursor ko. Ayan, yung nasa lower right ng screen, ganyan siya. Meron dalawang leaf, so pwede nyo na siyang i-harvest. Yung nasa taas din, same. Pwede nyo na siyang i-harvest at that point. Ganun. I think this is broccoli microgreens. Ayan. So, if you want to have access doon sa mga videos na pinlay kanina, ayan, pwede nyo i-screenshot tong slide na to. I-type nyo lang sa Google or sa Ecosia na tawag dito, bit.ly ayan /CEA Agri. CE Agri. Ayan. So nandun yung mga videos na yan. And perhaps further, ilalagay ko rin dyan yung mga other resources na pwede nyong tignan at pag-aralan para makabuo kayo ng deep water culture na hydroponics at saka kung paano yung sa microgreens. So pwede kayong pumunta dyan. Ayan. So, ayan. Bago to, let's have a review ulit from the very start. Let's answer the what. What is CEA or Controlled Environment Agriculture? It is a global movement that integrates science and engineering approaches para makapagtanim or para makapag-grow ng mga halaman. So, sa CEA or Controlled Environment Agriculture, yung mga halaman natin ay gino-grow in managed environment or kontroladong mga environment. Kaya kayo yung merong control. Next, it heightens productivity. Kasi nga sabi ko kanina, for example, yung lettuce, from 60 to 75 days nagiging 30 days na lang kapag ginrow mo siya in hydroponics. Another, yung sa microgreens, di ba, kapag full grown siya, sobrang tagal, pero you can, if you will be doing microgreens, pwede mo na siyang i-harvest within 7 to 21 days. And it optimizes the use of resources. Katulad ng sabi ko kanina yung sa nutrients, kontrolado mo kung ilang nutrients yung ilalagay mo sa iyong tubig. Next, why? After the what, meron tayong why. Why grow your own food? Kasi it reduces your carbon footprint. And also, it further minimizes the impacts ng climate change, which is a simple help that we can do as individuals. Next, it ensures food security for your household. Kasi nga meron kayong access na sa pagkain at your own homes. It enhances or it ensures food security. And lastly, it is a fun learning experience because along the way, meron kayong matututunan from your mistakes siguro. For example, at some point, bakit kaya nagkaroon ng molds itong aking microgreens? Tas yun, you can search on that or you can even approach me. Actually, that is the reason kung bakit ako gumawa ng Facebook group na Sprout Up Beginners like you, hopefully, that you can engage in household or indoor gardening. Tapos doon sa group na yon, pwede akong sumagot ng mga question. Pwede mag-post yung mga people doon about sa mga concerns nila na bakit ganito yung nangyayari sa aking halaman, ba't ganito, anong pwede kong gawin? So there, I can answer. Ayan. Or you can also approach me, ganyan. And next, where to start? You can start in your own homes or in your community. And who can participate? Everyone can participate. How to grow your own food? So nasa how na tayo. Tapos na yung what, why, where, who. Nasa how, you can grow your own food using two technologies that I introduced today. First is hydroponics. And second is yung microgreens natin. Yung hydroponics is growing food on water. Katulad ng mga pinanood nating video kanina. And yung microgreens naman is growing plants up to the seedling stage lang, yung mga ganito kalalaki. That is very helpful din kasi packed siya ng nutrients. It is considered as a superfood, and it is easy to grow, and even a garden beginner can do it. Kasi pwede nyo siyang i-grow. Ito pala, meron pala akong mga hinandang ganito dito kanina. Pwede nyo siyang i-grow sa mga ganitong trays lang. Pwede nyo siyang lagyan ng tissue paper, tas i-spread nyo na doon yung maraming seeds. Tas after 7 days, 5 days, 21 days, meron nang tutubo dyan. And yan, pwede nyo na siyang ihalo sa mga pagkain nyo. Masarap siya sa noodles, sinasabi ko sa inyo. Yung mung bean, yung munggo. Or, kung medyo ano pa kayo, pwede kayo gumamit ng ganito, yung mga trays. Pero kapag gusto nyo mag-invest na talaga, kapag sabi nyo, ay parang gusto ko yung microgreens na yan, parang gusto ko talaga mag-grow ng ganyan, gusto ko maging healthy living 2022 tayo. Ayun ang hashtag natin for this year. Ganyan. Pwede kayong bumili ng ganitong klaseng trays sa Shopee. Actually, marami na doon. I-search na lang microgreen trays. Ito yung nasa video kanina. May tray siya sa baba, tapos may tray ulit siya sa taas. So dito itong white na tray, dito nyo ilalagay yung seeds. Dito nyo ilalagay yung seeds. Tapos after 2 days, lalagyan nyo na ng water itong baba. Actually, ang microgreens ay para sa mga tamad. Kasi after nyo lagyan ng tubig yung sa may baba, low maintenance na siya. Pwede nyo siyang iwanan dyan. Hindi nyo na siya kailangan diligan araw-araw. Kasi meron na siyang access sa water. Ang kailangan nyo na lang i-check is that meron pa bang tubig sa baba. So kapag may tubig pa, siguro after 5 days ulit, tignan nyo na kung may tubig pa. So kung kunwari wala na, re-refillan nyo na lang ulit ng tubig. Ganon. So yun, I hope na yung mga videos na yun ay nakatulong sa even to heighten your interest in agriculture and in engaging sa controlled environment agriculture, indoor gardening, yung mga yan. And is when to start. And I'm encouraging you to start now. Hindi ako nagbebenta ng mga kung ano dito. You can outsource, you can do it DIY. Ayan, marami. Yung mga sinuggest ko kanina, those are DIY options. Sabi ko nga kanina, pwede kayong mag-hydroponics gamit yung timba ng mga tinapay na mga biskwit. Tapos yung styro cup na anong ganito, meron naman siguro kayong ganito. So pwede kayo mag-start through that. Tapos accessible din yung mga rocks, yung mga gravel rocks. So pwede na kayo mag-start doon. Because this is also a way for us as normal citizens of this country and of this world to help sa nangyayaring climate change ngayon. Growing your own food may seem difficult at first, pero once na nandun na kayo, and yun talagang initial step nyo is to start, you will enjoy the experience. So if there's something that I want to leave today, it's to start ano dito? Recalibrating your steps. Ayan, recalibrating and rethinking kung ano yung mga ginagawa nyo ngayon and how can you further help our environment na at least ma-extend pa or ma-lessen pa yung effects ng climate change. So yan, I think nakapag-review na tayo. Nauna ko pala yung review bago tong slide na to. So ayan, you can screenshot this if you want to go back sa buong lecture ko. Ayan, for today. And ayan, just a shameless plug for everyone. If you want to reach out sa akin, you can contact me through these platforms. Sabi ko kanina, we have a research community. Actually, itong mga to libre to baka mamaya kinakabahan ko, baka may bayad yan. Ganun. Yung sa mga Facebook groups, I'm doing it for free because I realized then during the pandemic that a lot of students right now are itong setup na to ay hindi best for them. So as long as I can help, I will help. Ayun yung parang naging motto ko ngayon. Kaya gumawa ako ng research community where you can ask me about mga possible research topic o kaya magpa-suggestion kayo ng topic or what, ganyan. Pwede yun. Then meron ding Sprout Up Journeys for agriculture or gardening related na mga contents. Yan, pwede kayong mag-join dyan. Then, I am also on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook page, TikTok, and Spotify. Sprout Up I6111. Dito, nandyan yung mga yung mga content ko na about agriculture, research, meron din kung paano gumawa ng research paper, study hacks, nandyan din yan. Ano pa ba? Life lessons, you can have more, you can listen to me speak sa podcast ko for life lessons and such. And marami akong content about agriculture at saka research doon. And even statistical treatment of data using ANOVA, mga gano'n. Wow, naging ano na. And, ayan, you can email me here, sproutupi6111@gmail.com if you have further questions. Perhaps after this webinar, siguro days from now, magkaroon kayo ng question or parang idea, you can reach me out through that email. And here are my references for this slides. Ayan. And I want to end this presentation by presenting yung introduction ko that cost me that 50,000 grant from Department of Agriculture. So ito yung aking intro noon. So ang intro ko months back, a year back pala, ay ang gagawin kong outro dito sa seminar na to. So it goes like this. It goes like this. Excuse me. Alam niyo ba na ang average age ng farmers in the Philippines, according to the Philippine Statistics Authority, ay nasa 57 years old. Imagine, gano'n katatanda yung mga people that are engaging in agriculture. And I've always asked myself when I entered UP, ano kaya yung reason for this? Kasi we were introduced to this even nung freshman kami. Ano kaya yung reason for this? And while going through through my years in UP and hearing things from when I start my YouTube channel and my TikTok account, bakit nga ba sobrang onti lang ng mga estudyante na nag-engage sa agriculture? Kahit na sinasabi natin na ang Pilipinas ay isang agricultural country na, di ba lagi natin pinagmamalaki yun na Philippines is an agricultural country. I know that all of you ay somewhere in your life na rinig nyo na ang Pilipinas ay isang agricultural country. But I figured out na ang problema is lack of agricultural awareness. Even from our elementary level, elementary days, farmers are portrayed as someone na mahirap. That building up from the elementary level, from the basic education, ay nagbubunga sa kawalan ng interes ng kabataan ngayon sa science courses, sa agriculture courses. Most of us, and I don't have anything against, most of the youth right now are more interested in, alam niyo yun, yung mga commonly considered na mga professions, which is, I think, alam niyo na kahit hindi ko sabihin dito. And that is good. But then, our country needs more agriculturists. Kasi kapag sinabi natin agriculturists, it is not just people who engages in the field. Agriculturists are also people who are in the laboratory. These are people who are developing different technologies para sa ating mga farmers, para mas mapadali ang buhay ng ating mga farmers, para mas mapa-increase ang harvest ng ating mga farmers. Ang mga agriculturists ay mga tao na nagde-develop ng mga programa papunta na mula sa siyensya patungo sa ating mga farmers. Kasi nga, even itong mismong mga diniscuss ko dito, itong hydroponics, itong microgreens, some of our farmers are not yet aware na meron pala mga ganitong technologies. And I also want to share this, sobrang quick lang, this story, na nung I had my vacation 2 weeks back sa Taguig, sa bahay ng friend ko. Tapos, I was able to have this conversation with a taxi driver. And I was able to explain these two concepts, hydroponics and microgreens, to him. Sabi ko, Kuya, alam nyo ba na pwede kayong makapag-grow ng halaman sa tubig lamang? Sabi ko, pwede pala yun? And that is a reflection that there are a lot of people right now who are not yet aware of this. And we need people na magsasabi sa kanila ng ganito. Na, Tito, Kuya, alam niyo ba na pwede kayong mag-grow sa ganito? Pwede kayong kumita sa mga ganitong bagay? That is why, ba't dito ako sa laptop na ganun? That is why I want to end by saying this again. Actually, ito ay isang quotation na sinabi ko doon sa Agri-Youth Vlogging Contest ng Department of Agriculture. I said there, I believe in the next generation. And the people in this Zoom meeting, the people who are watching this live stream, are part of the next generation, I believe. So let us take part in influencing and imparting knowledge to our country's future agriculturists, future researchers, and scientists. These are world changers. I started this talk with a picture of scientists protesting. And I think right now, this is the time for us na bigyan ng pansin ang ating mga scientists. And perhaps I am not taking away the fact that from this Zoom meeting, mamaya nandiyan na pala yung ating future Department of Agriculture Secretary, Department of Science and Technology Secretary, di ba? Meron dito mga STEM, merong mga junior high school and even grade 6. And you have a lot of years ahead of you to decide kung ano nga ba talaga yung mga bagay that you're passionate about. And I hope that this talk heightened at least your idea about agriculture at kung gaano kaganda ang agriculture as a sector, as a field na pwede nyo i-engage. So ang agriculture, it is not just one-faceted, it is multifaceted. Meron diyang communication, research, meron kaming engineering subjects, meron kaming science courses, lahat. So I believe that if you believe that you are a jack of all trades, katulad nga na sinasabi ng aming college secretary dati, agriculture students are the jack of all trades. So if you believe that you are one of those, I also believe in you. Wow. I also believe in you. So I believe in the next generation. Kaya nga ang lagi kong sinisigaw sa aking YouTube channel, sa aking TikTok, sa aking mga videos, para sa agham, ay para sa bayan, agham at agrikultura. So I want to end with that. So if you have any questions, just ask. Thank you very much, everyone.